Schwan and Faith. They need to give them the trust they deserve, and if Schwan and Faith, they like their rotations early on and everything, like they were when that team was successful, they were the backbone of the team. You can always expect Ferrari and Burning to perform even lower. They will, they will deliver.
Yeah.
So it's all about Schwan and Faith to me.
Okay.
The space they get.
We've got about 40 seconds to go before the draft starts, so it's predictions time. Let's put you on the spot very quickly, Malik.
IG.
Yeah, IG.
John Winterwyven, IG wins.
Yeah, IG too.
Yeah, I had a funny feeling that might have been a clean sweep, so we've still got 30 seconds.
My heart is still with you, Jerex.
I would love to see MVP Hot Six show us something tonight. The fact is they just haven't shown us that spark so far this tournament that carried them through the SEA qualifiers.
Yeah, I think you're all in agreement. This is probably the most one-sided prediction of the evening anyway.
Yeah, it is for sure.
I look forward to something crazy for sure. We will see if MVP Hot Six bring it.
Hot Six's turn to battle.
Invictus Gaming versus MVP Hot Six.
Last chance saloon for the two players, and the two sets of players, and the two teams who are now in the arena for our final game of the night. We've lost 3. We're about to lose a 4th. It's MVP Hot Six versus Invictus Gaming.
And we haven't seen a single Lesher. Like, not a single one.
Hey, the question, why would you let that hero through?
It's only gone through a few times as it is. Hasn't been actually 100% successful when it's gone through either, so it's not like it's...
Yeah, but I'm sure we'll talk about this again because we're going to see LGD again. But for me, all you needed to watch is what Maybe did with that hero against Secret, and it's just goodbye.
There's going to be a point in the tournament where people are going to need to rely on something, and when you give away Leshak, at least you're sure they're going to first pick it. So that's already a basis to a draft and how to prepare it for a match. So we might see it later, but you're not going to give it away for a best of 1. That's for sure.
Yeah, only 13 times it's actually gone through. And it's an 85 win ratio, so not devastating, but reasonable. 61.5% is pretty good.
The two main strats that we've seen from IG, I think, is like a really push-heavy strat with DK and Chen are the backbones of that, as well as a 4-protect one with burning on Anti-Mage or Naga. Sometimes Spectre, but we haven't seen Spectre picked at all. I think we're going to see them run one of those two.
Yeah. I would slightly favor the 4-protect one in this scenario. I feel like even though you do expect a bit of a pocket strat, you make MVP come to you. You put the pressure on them to make the plays.
Yeah, as we saw versus match versus EG, their late game is a little suspect. Their early game is really, really strong.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking to both these teams and just thinking about them. And I think Lina is a very high priority target here. And she will be first picked. I barely had time to say it before he even gets... I didn't think he would get first picked, actually. But Jerex loves playing it, and IG also play a really good Lina. Definitely on mid, and they also play a good support Lina.
Yeah, I think have I seen MP run that hero mid? I think they run it both as a mid and a support. I wouldn't swear to that.
I haven't seen MP on it, but I've seen Jerex and what he can do. In the C qualifiers, he destroyed everyone with this hero.
And if I'm not mistaken, Forev has run Lina, and he actually destroyed Vichy Gaming. It's one of the games they won during the group stage, and he went like 20 to something. Like, he did amazingly well with it.
They did a safe lane, right?
It was safe lane.
Yes.
Yeah. They have actually four of their players in the last 25 games. He and Forev, Jerex, and MP have all played Lina, so it's a hugely flexible pick.
Definitely, and that's the Fiori Radiant SF. Unless it is, Schwan or Face that plays it and Ferrari plays support, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think we're going to have the same.
Safe to assume that it's going to be a Ferrari SF.
I don't think we're going to have the Fnatic thing happening here. I doubt that Ferrari is going to be like, yeah, you know what? It's actually not
I'm going to play the support. You get to play it. No, I mean, the common point with Fnatic though was that I believe IG changed drafters during the group stage at some point, and Luo got to draft for a few games, which is generally not a very good sign, for a team.
Yeah.
And now they're back to Faith, which is rather positive. After they got a few days to think about what they did and wrong, especially.
Yeah.
So
it can be a good decision for the team. It's just a sign that something is not right. So it's bad that it is happening, but it could have helped as well to get new perspectives.
What exactly do you think IG's biggest weakness was during the group stage? like why they underperform so
Their
much?
team play, to me, their team play, and as I said earlier, also the space they give to their supports. I think the movement of your support early on is what's going to decide how the game's going to be played. And Faith and Schwan, they're known to be very, they're a very good support duo. They used to play with each others, and they're usually really the backbone of the team, and I haven't feel like they were in the last games they played.
I watched a lot of their games casting, and we cast a lot of C9 games and IG games, me and Toby. And IG, what I felt was off for them was just when they went into team fights, they would sometimes not really overextend and dive the way you imagine, like into towers and stuff. They just put themselves in unfortunate situations. A slow and steady move, but into a bad scenario where you get surrounded or so. And it sometimes cost them the entire game. And Sean was playing really well in the majority of their games, so I would like to mention him as the MVP through the group stage.
Yeah, I thought their support rotations have been good, but they just didn't capitalize on it. And that's an issue that we've also seen from C9. And you draw a contest, right, to CDEC, who I think played the best Dota that we saw all day today, where they were just perfect execution in terms of getting in and out of engagements as 5. And that's what's really been the problem spot for IG. They've been very hesitant to commit, and they've overstayed once they have.
To me right now, like when you first pick SF Dazzle, it's most likely going to be a push strat. You're most likely going to group up behind your SF with mech, that gets a very early mech because he's Radiant and the Dazzle sustain. So it's going to be a 5-man, like heavy teamfight lineup that wants to push towers and secure objectives very early on. Roshan could be one of them. If they could go into a slaughter, it would be a very classic lineup that has been around many times in this patch as well. And to me, it doesn't seem like MVP Hot 6 right now is really approaching the game that way. They pick Bloodseeker, which is fine, but he's not the best, team fighter at all. Yeah. And they're banning Broodmother. To me, it doesn't seem like they understand that IG might want to go for this. And we also said it earlier, it's one of their go-to strategies, just group up as 5 and force the issue quite early.
No, I mean, what you said, by the way, about the Shadow Fiend is absolutely correct. Mushi is credited with inventing Mech Shadow Fiend, but Ferrari has certainly perfected that build. He's actually one of the 3 best mech builders in this patch. He's one of only 3 players to build it more than 20 times, and 15 of those were on SF. He really is great at compromising between using the Shadow Fiend as an early presence in team fights and pushes and still keeping up that ridiculous rate of farm.
Spirit Breaker.
Yeah, I mean, he's also a very flashy player to look at. When you think about mechanical skill, if you just think those 2 words, Ferrari is one of the names that pop into your mind. He's just a phenomenal player, and I look forward to seeing his Shadow Fiend performance.
So this is most likely going to be a Luo offlane Spirit Breaker. This is a pick that they've gone to in the past, and again, I've said this stat in the past that really IG, they live and die by Luo's performance as much as I think any team in Pro Dota 2. If you can have a good game on this hero, I think they've got this locked up.
Yeah, definitely.
I really like Hot 6's bans with the Broodmother. I mean, Brood is going to slip through, but you really don't want to let it through in a best of 1. And Undying is, I think, just fits really well with IG's strategy, especially combined with the Shadow Fiend and Dazzle. It leads to a really scary early game, and Bloodseeker can't really, go man mode against.
Undying was a great ban, definitely. Like, that works into what Matt said about pushing as 5. So the Brood ban is maybe a little bit off, but could also have been dangerous. But Undying for sure not something you want to go up against here.
By the way, this pick also leads me to believe that this might be a core lean and a safe lane Bloodseeker. Jerax is their primary Earthshaker player. He's excellent on the hero, has just really, really solid assist totals, 11.5 assists per game.
He's the type of player that's basically always where he has to be. He's that type of support. You can always expect him to be where the action is. He's really good at reading what's going to happen.
Good understanding of the map in general. Just, map awareness is very high for him. This game, I think a lot of weight is on the Spirit Breaker to initiate, though. Like, you're saying this is a 5-man sort of push with the Shadow Fiend and Dazzle, which I definitely believe as well. But they kind of rely on Spirit Breaker to find the initiation. Because look at the D-push that exists. You have Fisher, you have Bloodright, you have Dragon Slave. If you don't kill, you're not going to get in on the towers.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also, whenever you run a pushing lineup, you want to have initiation potential. Else you're just sitting there, eating nukes or getting harassed until there's actually an option for the enemy to just go and actually team wipe you. So
I think you guys are dead on, and it makes me worry a little bit that what we were commenting about the players and some of the problems may apply to the draft as well. You know, when you look at these 4 heroes, they're 4 heroes that we know that these individual players can play really well. But the question is the synergy there, especially against what MVP Hot 6 is bringing to the table?
I think it's a bit scary. I would really love to see a Slaughter in that draft. It's also a hero Burning has played, and he actually won many games with it. But yeah, I think Slaughter fits perfectly. It brings initiation. It's gonna make Shadowfiend even more scary.
I think other teams have also run it, either in scrims or just in some group stage match that I must have missed. Because when you see Shadowfiend and Dazzle, plenty of the teams will fifth ban the Slaughter.
Yeah,
they always go towards that.
Yeah. For many reasons, like obviously the minus armor reduction is a thing. It's also Slaughter is not the best laner, and Dazzle really helps him to be more like really stronger in the lane, and he gives him killing potential.
Yeah.
Resident Zeus expert on the panel. Is this a core Zeus, or are we going to see a 4 position?
I think core Zeus, but it's, you know, combination with the Bloodseeker. Zeus's win rate is actually terrible.
Yeah.
Group stage. It was like 1 in 6 at some point. And I mean, of course, some of it is Glimmer Cake to blame, but at the same time, I don't actually really know what's terribly wrong with the hero.
Yeah, I actually thought Zeus Bloodseeker was going to be a pocket strat that more teams would pull out. But yeah, we just really haven't seen it. And when we've seen Zeus, he hasn't had a lot of success. I do think Glimmer Cape is a big part of the explanation here. I feel like IG, the Slardar pick was a really, really good suggestion. It's an underrated aspect of Burning. That Burning actually had some games on Brewmaster. He can play those initiating type heroes.
He's really good at this.
He definitely can.
For sure. And he's good at fighting farm. And those heroes, you need someone that's experienced, you know, like that's going to know when to farm, when to go into a fight. And because the problem with unexperienced players on Slaughter or Brewmaster is that they keep on fighting when they probably shouldn't, or looking for, you know, openings, and they just fall behind.
Yeah.
Just to confirm the Zeus pick, by the way, this is the 9th time in group stages have been picked. Currently has a win rate of 12.5%.
Impressive.
Hot 6 did play it at the core, but that was versus, I think, EG's Ember Spirit. And what EG did was just kind of wait until they had BKBs and massive items and then just killed them, which, again, is MVP's weakness.
I did witness that game where Zeus actually won. It was an amazing amount of bursts, and the poor Ember, who was rushing Manta style, did not get anything done. That was one of the most painful games from the group stage. I want to ask you, Merlini, in this current patch, which position would you rather see Zeus on? Because he's a pretty flexible hero.
I think he has trouble like seeking high ground,
Yeah.
and that definitely makes him much more risky as a core. But I mean, people have been tending for like the safer builds like Bloodstone, so you do shore up for the late game. But I mean, I think it's much safer to run him as a support. But I think he can work very well in a core if you have a very aggressive lineup and have good high ground siege.
Yeah, and I'm actually kind of glad to see this. That, you know, we can talk about putting Burning on a Brewmaster, we can talk about putting Burning on a Slaughter, but you know what? It wouldn't be Burning if he wasn't on some kind of hard farming hero. And I actually like the new incarnation of PL as a kind of a compromise between a hero that obviously benefits a lot from farm, but he can fight very, very well with the drum and diffusal.
You just want to see Burning break some records in farm. Just admit it now.
Guilty, man. I love Burning in my stats. I mean, we saw an 8-0-0 game from him on his AM in the group stage. What else do you want from a Burning AM?
All right. That's a surprising pick, the GHD. It's most likely going to be support. If we said that Shaker was a support and Zeus was a core, it could be offlane as well.
Okay, time for our final game of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Let's find out who the 4th and final team are to advance through